Hello, my name is Anya Holman, and this is my passion project video.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're cruising about 3,000 feet, and I want y'all.
I actually played chess in elementary school when my 4th grade teacher, Mr. Larson, taught our whole class. He bought chessboards and pieces, and slowly our whole grade found an interest in playing it. I always played this one kid, and he always beat me, and I could never win because he used actual strategy. Well, I was just really proud I knew how to move the pieces. This grew my interest because I always wondered how he was so much better than me. My goal of this passion project was to learn as much as possible about chess and eventually beat my family members. First, I did a vision board where I put down possible ideas for my project. I did an interest tournament and I ended up with chess, and still in the planning process, I made a passion project timeline. My original timeline, I planned out that I was going to research chess sets online while I was doing online lessons about chess, but I ended up going to my cabin on the mainland and I found a chessboard in a games closet, which was actually perfect. And for online lessons, I ended up subscribing to this channel called Gotham Chess, which is run by this grandmaster who teaches the basics and how to improve. I also downloaded this app where you can play chess bots at different levels, and it helped me a lot to practice online. During my first steps in this passion project, I played so many games of chess, more than 100, which included online and offline games with a physical chessboard. I taught my friends, Julian and Will, how to play, and I also taught my family how to play, which was my sisters Gabriella and Sophia, and my brother-in-law, Boston. This was also really rewarding, not only because I sucked at first playing against bots, but I also could teach someone something even though I just knew how the pieces moved and the basics of opening principles. That's the thing I ended up really liking about chess. It looks really complicated at first, but then when you break it down into just how the pieces move, it becomes really easy and easier to start playing. I already knew how the pieces moved in chess, which is basically the pawn chess pieces can only directly move forward one square, with 2 exceptions. They can move directly forward 2 squares on their first move only, and they can move diagonally forward when capturing an opponent's chess piece. Once a pawn chess piece reaches the other side of the chessboard, the player may trade the pawn and any other chess piece if they choose, except another king. The rook piece can move forward, backward, left, or right at any time, and the rook piece can move anywhere from 1 to 7 squares in any direction, so as long as they are not obstructed by any other pieces. The knight can move into L's. The knight piece can skip over any other piece to reach its destination position. The bishop can move in any direction diagonally so long as it is not obstructed by another piece. It cannot move past any piece that is obstructing its path, and the bishop can take any other piece on the board that is within its bounds of movement. The queen can move in any direction on a straight or diagonal path. The queen cannot jump over any pieces like the knight can, and so its movements are restricted in any direction of unoccupied squares. The queen can be used to capture any of your opponent's pieces on the board. The king piece can move one single square in any direction. It cannot move onto a square that is directly occupied by a piece from its own team, and the king piece cannot move to any square that puts them into a check position. The king can participate in a move known as castling, where the piece can move up to 3 squares while exchanging places with a rook piece. There are 3 main sections that I focused on, which were opening principles, /openings, middle game, and endgame. I already knew how the pieces moved and how to set up the board, so that wasn't a problem. I learned opening principles, which included developing your pieces and not bringing your queen out too early. Then there are different sequences that are easier for beginners that I learned first, like the Roy Lopez 4 knights opening and the 2 knights defense, or fried liver defense. Then I worked on my middle game by making sure I didn't have hanging pawns, which are pawns that have no defense and can be captured. I'm still working on my endgame because I mostly just try to capture as many of the opponent's pieces as possible because it gets more difficult the more material that I see on the board. I continued to absorb as much information as I could as I made my way through the bots on chess.com. Then my roadblock happened when I faced this bot called Nelson. This bot was particularly difficult to beat or to win against because of its insistence on doing the scholar's mate every opening. The scholar's mate is the fastest way you can beat someone in chess, by attacking their weakest pawn, and I won against it by watching this YouTube video facing a specific bot, and that was really helpful. My biggest breakthrough was probably when I beat Nelson on chess.com. So we're going to analyze and correct some moves on this one game I played against his bot on chess.com. I take out my knight on the right side, and that's my last book move. I take out my queen, which is, I'll tell you the thought process I had for this. I was thinking I can advance my pawn in the middle, and if that pawn is taken by the other pawn, then I can take with my bishop and I can threaten the queen. And when the queen moves, I can take the rook on the far left side. For this specific move, I was supposed to just advance my pawn, and that's the best move I can do. I end up advancing my pawn anyways, but with my queen in the actual game. The next key moment is a missed win with my knight. Instead of moving my knight to f6, I should have moved it to I shouldn't have moved my knight at all. I should have moved the rook to the end of the board. It kind of traps the king on one side of the board, and I didn't see that. I continue on. This is in the actual game I played. I put my horse trying to check the king. Instead, I should have put my rook on the far end of the board, because then it's checking the king, but also it's defending the horse or knight. If I move my horse on d5, the next move I would do is b6, and that's blocking off the a8 and c8 squares on both sides of the king, and then I would just checkmate the next move with my rook on b7. Yeah, that's the game. In the future, I want to focus more on endgames and expand my skills in middle games. I also want to continue to beat more bots on chess.com. I like this project because it gave me an opportunity to learn this skill that I've been putting off for a while, and it feels satisfying that I can now say I know how to play chess.